All right, what's up, everyone? Happy Monday. Hello, Jennifer.
Hello.
Hi. All right, so today we're going to talk about pricing because we feel like it. And so, what? What are you laughing at?
You just because we feel like it.
Yeah, we feel like it. So, no, if you've been told to only raise your prices by $5 across the board or 3%, you've been given bad advice. And we're going to prove it today. We want to talk about real numbers, real examples, and a lot of the reasons that so many salon owners struggle with raising prices at all. So here's the thing. Price increases are normal. They literally happen in every industry. But for some reason in the beauty industry, we're out here making social media announcements, we're apologizing, and then we're wondering why clients react. And if you think about that, it doesn't need to be that way, because when's the last time you went to a mechanic or your favorite restaurant or a grocery store and you saw a Facebook post saying, hey, everyone, lettuce went up by 25 cents? Never. It doesn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
So we want to talk about why $5 or 3% price increases don't make sense, why public announcements are hurting you, and why so many salon owners are scared to raise prices. And then we're going to get into how to raise prices, how to keep your right clients that you want to serve, and how to boost your profits.
Love it.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. So before that, we always start with our
opening takes.
Opening takes. My opening take is simply that you need to stop waiting around for everything to just happen. We see these posts all the time. Hey, when will we see profit? Hey, when will we see more clients? Hey, when will renters find us? Those things aren't just going to magically happen. It's why we're talking about in part pricing today, because if you don't work profit into your pricing model, you're not going to just magically find profit. It's not just going to magically appear. Unless for some reason in your lease, your rent goes down every year. But I don't think that
amazing.
happens. Yeah, that would be phenomenal. But you have to be proactive. We live in the information age. So all of the answers are out there. You just be proactive is my opening take. And stop sitting around waiting for stuff to happen. That's probably not going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to keep going because it's just going to get into the main topic, right? Because there's a lot of carryover today.
So mine was off like a word. I hear it all the time. Like, I'm trying my best. I'm trying. And my question to you is, are you really? Like, are you really trying to change things that aren't working in your business or your life or whatever it is? So I guess it's just kind of ask yourself, like, is your trying really going to get you to your end goal? And that's an honest answer that you have to come up with, because I find a lot of times people think trying is just getting up in the morning, getting dressed and getting to work. That there's no effort in that at all. That's like expected and that's what you need to do. So if you're not hitting your goals or your business isn't profitable or things aren't working well for you, you really need to reevaluate what effort you're putting in and start from there, because you are probably the problem. So effort, and is your trying efforts really, really getting you to where you need to be? And it's probably time to reevaluate those things.
I dig it.
Thanks.
The first thing I want to talk about, Jen, and you're probably a perfect person to talk about this, is so you're good at hair and then owning a business. So we have this technician to owner gap.
Mm-hmm.
And what happens is most salon owners start off as stylists, right?
Yes.
And then they might be amazing at hair, but they're diving into business ownership and they've not taken a single course. They've not talked to a single coach or mentor. They've not read a single business book. They've never run a business. They're not business operators.
Correct.
You're not going to master hair and then have that carry over into business. It's just not going to happen. It doesn't. There's no two fields that just magically cross over.
What I see too is because they've been employees in other businesses, they believe by watching what the owners they worked for and how they operated, that just by watching that business run, that they can open a business and run it better. When just because you've watched somebody run a business from a distance, you're still not seeing the full picture. That means nothing that you can then go open one and run it better. It relates exactly when new stylists come out of school, and we see this all the time. They're just supposed to watch the best stylist, and that means they're going to learn, which doesn't work. If it doesn't work in that model, I don't see why stylists think if they've watched how a business is run that they can turn around and run it better. It's just not going to work.
I've got a couple of quick notes. Running a business and doing hair require two different things. And if you don't understand what I'm talking about when I say that, when you learn hair, you're learning artistry, you're learning precision, you're learning how to provide a service.
Mm-hmm.
When you learn business, you learn leadership, pricing strategy, profit management, marketing, hiring,
Mm-hmm.
people management.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me what in hair school carries over to
No.
that. If you don't believe me, go to the best business school in your area, grab the top person from their class, hand them a pair of scissors and a comb. See what happens.
Mm-hmm.
If you think it's different, it's not. It's not. Without that leadership or that business training, bringing it back to pricing, decisions that you're making start, like your emotions creep in,
Mm-hmm.
basically.
Yes.
So you worry about being, quote unquote, too expensive. You worry about what's quote unquote fair in this quote unquote economy. You worry about overvaluing things. You worry about things like keeping everyone happy instead of protecting the business. If your clients like coming to you, the biggest disservice you could do to them was to not exist.
Mm-hmm.
So if you run out of money and you're closing your salon, which we see quite often, we see salons closing. Yeah, unfortunately, we don't want to see that at all. I don't think many people in the industry want to see other people closing. If I'm being honest, I could probably think of one person, but it's just because they're a jerk. I'm just being
It's always
real.
one.
Everybody's got one, right?
Yeah.
No, but seriously, we don't want to see businesses close. And when the number one reason for businesses closing is they run out of money.
Yeah.
So if you run out of money, how can you service your clients? So if you want to talk about being fair to your clients and what's right in this economy and whatever, the biggest thing is to take care of yourself. It's why when you're on an airplane, they say, put on your freaking mask first and then help other people.
Right.
Because if you pass out, there's
You're
nothing
no
that you're
good.
going to be able to do. Right. Let's break down these myths. Myth number one is the $5 rule, we'll call it. So $5. We're going to raise prices $5 across the board. You see that fairly often, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, $5.
That's probably the most popular way to do it.
Yeah. So this is extreme, but I'm going to use this for quick math. So say someone has a $20 haircut. Just say, I know that's super low. $5 on a $20 haircut is a 25% increase. We've gone a lot higher on some of our stuff, and we can get into that when we get there. But $5 on a $300 service is 1.6%. That's not even keeping up with inflation. So it's not consistent. It's not fair. It's definitely not strategic. And you're undervaluing your higher ticket services while you're placing your lower ticket services in that sort of like shock area for clients.
Right.
Where they're like, wow, that's a big jump. I'll hear the argument, I'm considering raising them $10 across the board. Well, same thing. If you have a $20 haircut, $10 is a 50% jump.
Right.
That's a massive jump. But again, on a $300 service, you're talking, what is that, 3.2% increase? That's not even close. That's getting us into that 3% rule, which we're going to talk about next. You have anything to add to that? I just want to give examples of why that doesn't make sense.
No, I think that's perfect. And I don't believe most people think about percents when they're raising prices. And I don't believe most people understand why you use a certain percent marker and what the industry or whatever, like clientele, whatever you want to say, can tolerate. I don't think they understand that. Like there's a tolerance, there's a reason behind why you can use certain percents, where you can push things and why. But if you don't understand that, that's where I think people just are like $5 works. But like you're saying, in certain scenarios, if your prices are super low, $5 could still be a shock to somebody. Where if your prices are higher, $5 might not even be noticeable. So it doesn't correlate.
Exactly. So then the argument becomes, well, let's use a percent, which I love. because that's what you should be doing. But myth number 2, we'll call it, is the 3% rule. Too low. That also doesn't make sense. Let's use a $100 service, for example, just for easy numbers. Say you have a $100 haircut. You increase it 3%. Now you have a $103 haircut. Is that even worth adjusting your booking software?
Right.
Because after taxes and stuff and after whatever, what are you talking about?
Mm-hmm.
It's not worth it. I also seen recently a few people arguing that if you go over 3%, you're going to lose a good amount of your clientele.
Bad advice, but okay.
Who out there say you have somebody that you're happy with that provides you a service. Say you have a massage therapist and it's $100 for a 60-minute massage and they raise their price to $103. Are you leaving? Is it worth it for you to go try to find somebody that's as good?
You could probably find $3 in quarters in your car. Come on.
Right. So that argument, that part of that myth is it's just false. It doesn't make sense. I've also seen people talk about the sort of 60% booked mark. And they're like, if you're 60% booked and you raise your price, you're going to lose all your clients because there's not a demand. I can tell you from hello that is false.
Mm-hmm.
Because we've had people at that 60, 65% booked rate that have raised their prices and gained clients.
Yes. We've seen that even this last time around.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about that too, for sure. So those are the two main ones. So there's this $5 rule that people seem to flock to. And then there's this 3% rule that people sort of flock to. And if you're like, well, I don't raise mine 3%, I raise mine 5%, congratulations. Same thing as what I said before. So instead of your $100 haircut, it's $105 now. Is that worth it to you? Especially going through all the stress that you're putting yourself through that you don't need to go through.
Mm-hmm.
So let's dive into that. Why are people getting stressed out? So they're announcing their price increases.
Mm-hmm.
And I know this is never going to change. And I know that you're looking for your echo chamber on Instagram. You're looking for, you're totally worth it. And I know that some account with a lot of followers told you this was the way to go. Okay. Just like doing hair and running a business don't cross over, building an Instagram following and running a business don't cross over either. So I'd be careful who you listen to.
Yes.
Again, announcing price increases. Price increases are normal. This is not a special event. I know everyone wants to think it's this big thing that needs to be celebrated. It's just part of running a business. It's actually this really boring part of running a business. It's not that exciting. You don't need a Facebook event about it.
And you
definitely don't need an Instagram post.
I have such a hard time on these because they generally start with, I've tried to hold off. I'm so sorry I have to do this. When you announce these price increases, how many of your clients actually see this post? Because I would imagine maybe, let's talk about percent, 1%. So nobody even saw your apologizing post of your price increases, or way long in cursive that we can't even read it because you tried to do some fun little font to make yourself feel better about it. And then nobody saw it. So when they come in, they don't even have a clue what you're talking about. Sorry.
Aggressive, Jen.
I know. I get frustrated. I will say this too, and maybe you're going to talk about this, so I'll keep this short. We use a percent for our price increases. This is on the backside. So Todd and I, as the leaders, we know what percents we're raising prices, and then we present it to our staff.
Yeah, we're going to talk about it.
In just a solid amount, because they don't need to understand percents or get their brain all wrapped up around something that they don't really care about.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure it's in the notes. So one of the things that, and everyone's probably going to argue about this, but one of the things that you're doing is that when you publicly announce something, you're creating pushback from people that weren't going to notice.
Yeah.
That's just a fact.
Mm-hmm.
Here's another point. Back to the other industries. Name one that announces price increases. How about gas? Let's look at gas. Gas goes up and down constantly, probably daily, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's based on the commodity. It's based on the cost of fuel, the cost to deliver the fuel, and the cost to get the fuel into your car. That's what it's based on. As those costs go up and down, so does the price of gasoline. Never once have I seen like Mobil be like, hey guys, we really tried to hold off on this. Man,
I think you see companies like Netflix, they'll send an email like, hey, your next bill is going to be this.
I've never gotten an email from Netflix, I don't believe, but I believe you. Maybe I've just missed them.
Yeah.
Generally, it's when you turn it on to use it and it says on your screen, hey, this is the new price point. You want to use this or not?
Yeah.
That's how they do it because fine, I get that. That's what you would do to your clients too.
Right.
You would say to your clients, so even if you don't want to surprise people, which I'm not saying surprise people, but you could say, hey, Sally, your haircut is $100 today. Next time that you come in, it's going to be 125.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be 120. It's going to be 115, whatever you decide on.
Right.
And then the person's going to go, oh, okay. They're already thinking about what they're making for dinner. They don't care.
Right.
That's not going to make or break them. So don't project on people. The last point I had on this section was just the more that you make it a big deal, the more it becomes a big deal.
Correct.
And you're doing a disservice to your clients when you project how much they can afford. You have no clue your clients' personal finances. They're not coming in with their profit and loss statements and their bank accounts and stuff. They're not, you have no idea. So it's wild to me to project. I've done it. I've been there with different businesses where I start to look at it and I'm like, wow, I couldn't afford this.
Right.
Like
That's a big one.
When I had my gym, I did one-on-one training and people are always like, no one's going to pay $100 for a haircut. They'll do it at home. No, that's not true. I used to charge people $1,600 a month. So every 4 weeks, we're not even talking every 12 weeks. We're talking every 4 weeks, they would hand me a check for $1,600. I couldn't afford that. But imagine if I was like, you know what? It's only $200 today because I just feel like it's not fair.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It makes no sense.
I know. I do think a lot of people get in their own way because they live in their own financial world, right? So
of course,
there's certain price points that hit you differently because you're like, wow, I wouldn't be able to pay this. That's fine. You wouldn't be your target clientele. That's totally cool.
You're not able to pay it is because you're charging $5 extra across the board for your services instead of using an actual percent.
Yeah.
That's why. So that's what we're trying to help. We're trying to get people to have a better lifestyle. We're trying to help people make more money. We're trying to help people, here's a big one, create opportunities for other people.
Yes. We coach our staff all the time. Like, hey, whatever they want to say, got a promotion. To what Todd said, next time you come in, your haircut, let's say it was 100, now it's 115. And then I'll always say, this is really, really important. Stop talking, bite your tongue. I don't care. Do not have any more words come out of your mouth. Because then there's this like word vomit that happens and it's just, you're all over the place. Everybody will process all your clients differently. Some may celebrate your promotion. Some might be like, wow, that's a lot. It doesn't even mean that they even care. It's just each person's going to react differently. And that's not yours to even worry about. You gave them the information. They get to decide what they want to do with it. But the stop talking is really important.
That's a huge one because when you start to explain things, you're talking people right out of it and you're talking through their emotions and your emotions. And none of this is an emotional thing. Right. That's what I said in the beginning. None of these decisions are made emotionally. Yeah. They shouldn't be. You cannot operate a business emotionally. It makes zero sense. You're going to drive yourself insane. Yes. You're never going to make profit. You're going to constantly struggle. You're not going to sleep at night. You're going to be up worrying about how much Bill and Ellen can afford to come in. It's not your business. Your business is to create a strong, profitable business. If you have a team, your business is to be responsible, to create opportunities for your team, and to serve your community, which is the clients that come to see you. So what should pricing be based on? I have a list here.
Okay.
So your numbers, right? Cost of goods, that stuff goes up. Labor, expenses. And here's a big one, profit margin targets. So what is your target profit margin? Is it 10%, 20%, 30%? I'll give you a pro tip. It should be somewhere in there. If you're profiting at all, you're doing better than the majority of salons out there. Let's look at, I have this chart. Where'd my chart go? Oh, I think it's here. Hold on. There it is.
We're holding.
Here it is. So this is based on data from a bunch of different places. This is 12 months in the US only. So we're talking, how many salons are profitable, Jen, in a percentage amount? Do you have a guess?
I think it's fairly low, to be honest.
It's 46%.
Okay.
46%. Now that doesn't
That
mean
means more than half of you people running your business are not profitable. That's crazy.
Yeah, around 19% break even.
Wow.
And 35% run out of loss. So if you look at different charts and different things, you'll find different numbers, but they're all around. So I found this one to that 46% to seem a little high to me. But I think when you break that down, the salons that are in there are included in that 46% profitability could be profiting 0.5%.
Right.
So you're talking about making, $5,000 per year for running, $1 million salon.
That's insane. I love that you have your old school calculator right next to you.
I love my old school calculator.
I know.
But either way, so is that worth it for that level of work? I don't know. You have to ask yourself. Anyways, let's get back to this. So what is pricing based on? Demand. Demand is a good one. How far you're booked out. Now, we talked about it doesn't have to be 100%, which is a lot of people are saying when you have clients banging down your doors, you raise your prices. For us, it's well before they're banging down your doors because you need to leverage that.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely that one matters, and it's one that we look at, but we don't look at it in the traditional, you got to get to 95, 100%. It's wild. Yeah. Positioning. Positioning is your skill level, your brand strength, your reputation. I had someone come in the other day and I said, how'd you find us? And they said, I looked online. And I said, cool. How'd you make the choice to come here instead of the other places that likely got recommended to you? And they said, I saw your reputation. I saw how many stars you had. And I was like, cool, welcome. I showed them around. I cut their hair. Value is another one. So this isn't necessarily something that is going to be easy for you to measure, but what are your clients' perception of your services and experience?
This is huge.
Because it's how much they buy in. We've all heard this before. Something is only worth what somebody is willing to pay for it. For example, people collect Pokemon cards. They go for millions of dollars. I think one sold for like $3 million. Wow. Would I buy a Pokemon card for even $5? No. Because I don't perceive the value in it.
But someone out there does.
Yeah, someone out there would buy it for $3 million. Mm-hmm. Now, if I knew it was $3 million selling for $5 million, yeah, I'm going to jump on that. But I want to point out the one thing that I didn't mention here, and I didn't mention it on purpose. You want to guess what it is, Jen?
I have no idea.
Education.
Oh.
Your pricing has very, very little to do with education. Education is a prerequisite, not an event to celebrate. Staying up to date is doing the bare minimum. It's like adjusting your prices only to reflect inflation and then expecting a huge return. And again, so hear me out, people. When I say education isn't an event to celebrate, what I mean is your clients don't care. They do not care. If you don't believe me, when is the last time you went into your dentist and asked them about their ongoing education? Name a time. When's the last time you went to your doctor and you said, hey, doc, what'd you do this year for education? Do some YouTube videos? Did you watch The Busiest Person? Did you go to New York to some week?
Right.
Clients
and
don't
I'm
care.
sure there's people that are like, when I talk to my clients, they're super excited. Yes, of course they are. But they're expecting, most clients actually will ask me, what does the state require for you to continue your education to renew your license? Like they just think that the state is basically making sure you're doing this. And I was like, nothing, you just pay a fee. And they're like, oh, it's on you to decide if you want to continue growing your technical skills or stay stagnant. The state does not care.
Yeah, clients mostly don't care. When I had my gym, I never once so I owned my gym for a decade, and then I worked at another gym for a couple of years before that. Not once. So maybe that's an exaggeration. I just don't remember. So we'll say once it happened in 12 years, 13 years. So one time someone asked me if I was certified and what that looked like. And in that industry, you don't even need to be certified. There's no licensing board.
Yep.
Which is wild that we're so focused on hair licensing, but that's a whole
topic.
Yeah. I'm not saying education isn't something you should celebrate with your team. I'm saying your clients don't give an F. Go to lunch and geek out after a class with your team.
Post all the pics of you doing that, but
what?
Post all the pics of you taking your classes. Go for it. That's what social media is for. Have fun.
Yeah, do whatever, but that's not factoring into your pricing. But do all the feel good things. And keep in mind, it's okay to also not post everything on social media.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to. All right, let's talk about hello, because people are like, if they're listening, there's definitely somebody that's irritated right now. And they're like, yeah, right. Well, then what? So let's tell. Did I do a good voice
good.
there?
Yeah.
So let's use Hello Hair for our case study. We just recently gave 8 employees a raise that ranged from 15 to 25% on average. Now, why is that an average? Because we found some stuff that was like a 40% increase on certain services that were maybe old, dated in the computer. Maybe they were mistakes. Maybe they weren't even client facing. We just were like, whatever, we're going to rock with it. And we went 15 to 25%. How many clients have we lost, Jen?
None that I know of.
0.
If anything, it's been the busiest 2 weeks that I've seen in a while. So with new clients, like booking online, which means booking online, which I love because the prices are client facing. So they're booking knowing what they're coming in for and happily. So it's been awesome. It's definitely something to celebrate.
So 15 to 25% raises with almost a 0% or 0 client loss.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty good. We're not doing anything special as far as like, buy my strategy or, do these 6 things. Do these 6 things to get your salon busier. Like, there's not this secret formula. The formula is to look at the tolerance, like you were talking about earlier, which is around that 15 to 20% mark, Jen, that clients will pay. And then to understand where you can push the limits, because the point of having a business is to profit. If it wasn't, we wouldn't have a business. That's how our system is set up. And I know people are like, capitalism is awful and I don't do this for the money. Well, good for you. We do this for the money because we need money to solve problems. We have 3 kids and we need to eat. We do this because we have a team of people that we really care about and we want them to be successful and we want them to have actual careers that pay them. So they're not always stressed out going, I have to move on. I can only make money if I move on.
Mm-hmm.
I have to leave here. That's the only way to make money. That's on you as a business owner.
It was actually really fun doing payroll yesterday and seeing, I know personally what each person wants to make weekly because we talk about it with them all the time, and knowing none of them were booked 100%. Let's say they were in the 60 to 70% range and all of them hit every single number they've been trying to get to, that they felt like they were working really hard and they were just there. One of them actually talked to me yesterday, was like, this is just freaking amazing. Like, and just so excited.
Yeah.
And we're there to actually like lead them too. So some of our staff has barriers where certain numbers, when they go to say the total, it stresses them out. We talk them through that, just like we're saying to you. Yep. I did it with someone yesterday. Like, this client's coming in. I think she's not going to like my new prices. And I'm like, okay, you're projecting. Stop doing that. So here's what we're going to do. Hey, so-and-so, I got a promotion. When you get this service, this is what it's going to be. This is what it's going to be next time you come in. And I overheard her talking to her client. And then later on, she was like, she didn't even have a problem with it at all. I'm like, see what you did? You stressed yourself out over something that wasn't even a problem. And how do you feel now? She's like, I'm amazing. Like, amazing. I'm like, great. That's how you should feel.
Yeah, That's awesome. But that takes leadership, and that takes understanding people's emotions and how we're reacting. And you're almost always wrong. When you create a scenario in your head,
Yeah.
it's almost always wrong. So when you're somebody that's like, if I raise my price $20 on this $100 haircut, you start going through your list in your head. This person's going to leave. This person's going to leave. This person's going to leave. For one, you're wrong. It's almost never going to work out like that. So you're just stressing yourself for, like you said, Jen, no reason at
And
all.
some of them may leave. Some of them will leave. But what it will
That's
do
the
is
point.
open you up to new people that price point is where they want to be. They see a level of technical skills at that price point. The amount of new haircut clients we've got over the last week or so at all of our new prices, it's almost as if I feel like clients are looking for a salon that has a certain price level that shows them that your staff is technically skilled. And it's just what we're seeing.
Right. And maybe if we just posted on Instagram that we did a bunch of education, that it would help. No, it's not going to help.
But we do a bunch of
People look at
education,
that,
as you all know. So
and we do post it because it's fun and it's part of our core
yeah,
values. But we're not using that as, hey guys, we took this class and this class, and
no,
that's why our prices are going up, or
yeah,
the cost of our scissors went up, or whatever. Like, no one, that's the stuff people don't care about. They care
no.
about what problem you're solving for them and the best solution to their problem.
Mm-hmm.
People want to be taken care of. People want hospitality. People want to not worry about, like I said, the education and the technical skill. That's the prerequisite. I don't want to
Yeah.
worry about if I'm going to get a good haircut. I assume I'm going to get a decent haircut anywhere. That's the cost of just showing up.
Yeah.
It's all the other little stuff. So why are we able to at Hello, or what do we think that we've identified as reasons that we can raise our prices and not really have any concern at all? So one of them is trust. We build trust with our clients. We give them actual proper consultations. We are collaborative, so we work together. They trust that if something is maybe a little outside of someone's wheelhouse, or
Mm-hmm.
they're not as versed in it, that they can draw from the group.
Right.
And that person is still going to get just that same level of service. Another thing we do is provide value. It's hospitality.
Mm-hmm.
It's greeting people immediately. It's offering a beverage. It's taking coats. It's showing them around. It's giving people a tour. It's getting them to feel comfortable before they even sit in the chair. I have seen before, people have a brand new client. This person's never been in the salon before. And the stylist walks up, says hi, and says, come this way, and turns their back and starts walking towards the sink. What are you doing? That's not providing any sort of value. That's not building trust. That's not getting somebody to feel warm and welcome. That's not hospitality. Another thing that I think that we do is consistency.
Yes, absolutely. That's huge.
You know what you're getting, and we sort of pride ourselves on consistency. We don't talk about it a lot, but I feel confident that anybody can go to anybody. And unless it's something that's like a really niche sort of skill, like if somebody's looking for some unicorn hair or something, we have a couple people that specialize in that. That's who I would tell you to go to. If you're looking for a long layered haircut, our entire team can deliver that.
Right.
Our whole team.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing that we do is we have confidence in delivery. So, and this is something that you're going to have to work on. Most people don't have this, and that's okay. Like I said in the beginning, this is business stuff is a skill. You have to learn how to be confident in your delivery so that you can coach your team to be confident in their delivery. Just like Jen, you said earlier that I don't know who it was, but I'll find out after, who was like, oh, this person's probably going to have a hard time, blah, 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 blah. If you're confident and you just talk to them, you've done your part.
Yeah.
If that person did have a problem, what do we do from there? Do you want to take it, Jen? I was kind of setting you up.
Like I said earlier, we just talk through it. Our staff will come to us.
No. I'm saying if the person didn't want to, if the person said, $150 is really out of my price range, great. Let me introduce you to so-and-so.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. The whole team knows that, and they're fine. They understand that the value of that client staying at Hello is the most important thing. And we have team support. So they're happy to fill their team members with the client if it's a price point better fit. I've seen even at our salon, just even personality fits that are off. And the staff will come to us and be like, hey, I'm not vibing with this client at all. So I'm like, okay, who will they vibe with? And they're like, oh, I never thought of that. Like they would be a way better fit for so-and-so. I'm like, great. Next time they're in, that's what you're going to do. Be like, I just think you'd be a better fit. Your hair, it'll be better. And they're like, that is so smart. It's not that hard, but it's just having those conversations.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
Sorry, I missed the setup on that one.
Nah, that's okay. Just trying to get you in there.
That's good.
Sometimes I feel like I'm ranting and I'm like, get Jen in there, get Jen in there.
I talk enough. Trust me. It's good. This is your wheelhouse. This is what Todd's really good at. I will say too, we did one-on-ones beginning of the year. We pretty much knew who was on course to hit all of these goals that we were setting up to start raises, for August. We had a list and there was coaching involved in there. For some of them, retention was conversation. For some of them, it was technical. So they understood coming into this year what education needed to be done and what they needed to show that they could do in order to get the raise that was coming in August. So this isn't something that we were like, oh, you guys are all at it, you're going right now. This was something we talked about in January and February, and we had let them know was implementing in August, and then laid out a path for each person on how to get there so that they successfully got that raise in August and they looked forward to it. It wasn't like a surprise. We also knew what numbers were going to be hard for people to come out of their mouth. So we worked through that from January, February, up through August, that when we got there, for the most part, small little things that we had to coach through, everybody was ready. Everybody was excited and couldn't wait. They were like, give me this raise. We are ready to go. And that takes that leadership and understanding what length of time you need to get there. So just kind of saying that, because I think sometimes people think like, oh, you just gave them out. Like, no, this was conversations that started the beginning of the year working towards getting to August 1st.
Yeah, for sure. None of this is random. That's what I hope I got across. Or
fast-paced or anything.
Yeah, what I hope I got across in my opening take was that you need to be proactive with this stuff, because it's what it takes.
I think just people forget there's a process. They're just like, oh, I should be doing this now. Like there's just work that goes on behind the scenes.
Yeah. And part of what we've done part of what we want to do with Hello Hair Pro, with this podcast, with some mentoring that we do, with, our newsletter, with blog posts, they're coming back soon, I promise. Part of the mission for that is us to prove our business model and prove that these strategies that we use work, and then share them with everybody, because that is what's important to us, is to help other people. None of this is to brag or to be like, oh, we're better than other salons. Not at all. Not at all. None of this is for that. I just wanted to use Hello Hair as this case study because it's proof that
yes,
when you have good clients that you're targeting, they're your perfect clients. They'll stay when they feel that the service is worth it, when they feel like they're getting hospitality, when they feel like there's a connection to a brand. That's what people stay for. And that's what we're proving. We have people that are pushing and they're reaching like $70, $80, $90, $100 haircuts, and people aren't leaving. We're getting new clients, like Jen said, every week. I mean, every day we get new clients, multiple new clients daily. So it's not, you're not going to scare people off with sticker shock as much as you think you are. It's just not going to happen. But you have to follow these other things. Especially if you have a
plan.
You have to have a plan, and you have to be confident, and all those other things.
And you have to understand the math and what you can push, and if you choose to, what that looks like. It's not a guessing game. It's not like, oh, just, hope and pray. It's not like that. There's so many parts that make it a foundational move that really is stable.
It's just part of doing business.
Yeah.
Like I said, every other industry does this. It's just part of it.
Yeah.
These people of these major companies are not sitting around stressed about your feelings or your emotions or anything. They do not want to lose clients either.
Nope.
So there's obviously a balance.
They also want to stay in business.
Of course, they have to. Let's talk about how to raise prices. Let's do some action steps. All right. So step number 1, I would say, audit your numbers. You got to know your costs. You got to know what profit margin you're after, because if you're just like, oh, I want to make money, but you don't say how much,
right?
And you have no clue. We have no starting point. And you have to understand the demand. So that's another one. So you got to know your costs, know your profit margins, and understand demand. You also have to understand your break-even point. If you don't, you're guessing. And that was a huge one. When we first set out with Hello, we were hit with COVID. So we sort of were like, what the F? And then after, we sat down with our accountant and we were like, let's figure out our exact break-even point per month, per day, per hour, however you want to look at it. I don't care. For some people, maybe it's weekly. It's just easy to look at. For other people, it might be quarterly. And if you know, the further you go down the line, the bigger chunk of time you can look at. Like we've started looking at quarterly rather than I'm looking at everything weekly going, do we have enough money to cover this stuff? You know what I mean? Step number 2. So number 1 is your numbers. 2, you got to choose what you're going to do as far as your method. How are you going to increase? If you're the dollar amount, I told you why that doesn't work. The low percent, I told you why that doesn't work. So I would say that percentage base is the most consistent, and that's going to keep you the most consistent across all of your services.
Agreed.
Well, what does that look like? Well, it's not 3%. I know I'm harping on that, but it is what it is. I would say between 10 and 20%, you'll see a meaningful change. You'll see an impact there. Doesn't mean you can't push up to 25 and sometimes, because we do. It is what it is. But you have to have a plan for it. And it goes back to that other stuff. Like if you're going to increase something 25%, the hospitality needs to be there. The way you make the client feels needs to be there. The way that you're showing up to work with your hair done and your makeup done, that stuff ready to go, that stuff needs to be there. No one wants you to come in, slap color on their head, and then go do your makeup.
Right.
Like that's not a thing.
No.
From there, you're going to decide on your timing. So how often are you increasing rates? Once a year is pretty good. That's pretty standard. Twice a year can be fine. Totally fine with increasing. I would say to think about spending habits throughout the year. You're not probably going to increase the week before Christmas. You know, I would go for summer and then some other time, maybe late winter or something. We tend to be annually when we look at stuff. So, but you can do it a couple times. I have talked to salons that have increased 3 or 4 times in a year and we're gaining clients. So it can be done.
Right. Yeah. I liked our August 1st. It was like quite fantastic.
Yeah, it's a good time of year for us, but you decide what works best for you. Then you're going to need to work on a communication strategy. So again, avoid blasting this on social media, avoid these big announcements. You really only need to notify people as they're coming in. You need to have your team set up. You need to have them understanding what's going on. You need to set them up for success. And if you do that, and it's honestly, it's not hard work, because if you're coaching a team, you likely care about the people that you're coaching.
Right.
So it's not hard for them. It's not hard. Geez, I'm losing my wording here. I'll say it this way. It's never been difficult for me to walk into the salon for a meeting and be like, hey, you're going to do a price increase. You're going to make more money. You're going to have a better lifestyle. You're going to be able to save more money. That's never been difficult for me to do. And if that's difficult for you, I guess work on some leadership skills. I don't know.
Yeah, I do. Todd and I were happy that every single person that was getting a raise when discussed at the beginning of the year and when it actually was implemented, absolutely celebrated, embraced it, and thought it was wonderful. There are those people, though, that the idea of a price increase scares them.
We've had them. We've had them. Our early team at Hello was like adverse to raising prices.
Yeah, like I said, this team, there was a couple people, just certain numbers on big services they had to work through, which, cool, we coached them through that. But if your team is opposite of that and they are afraid of it, again, it's kind of like I said to you, we started this January, February and worked through anything we needed to be really strong for that August 1st push where everybody was super excited. So it's just on you to get them there and understand with each individual what their fear is. Raising my prices scares me. Okay, why? So for us, everyone celebrated, except there were a few numbers, like I said, we had to work through. Someone else might, whatever their why is, that's what you have to start to coach them through. And then really work with them so they feel confident. Because if they're going to the clients not feeling confident about this price increase, this is a whole nother ballgame, because the client will feel that, be like, what is happening here? You know? So it's on you to coach to whatever each individual needs and the team as a whole, but with a very mindful approach.
Definitely. For sure. Where are we? So here's another strategy you can do when you're increasing your prices that might help is deliver more than is expected.
Mhm.
So if you are nervous about it, give your clients a little something extra. Don't be crazy over the top. Don't be doing all this silly stuff that you see. We're doing martinis of the month and whatever. That's not why clients aren't coming to you because you're a bar, right? They're coming
Better
to you
not be.
for their hair. So, and this can be simple stuff to increase the perceived value. You can maybe work on your consultations. Maybe add something, maybe add some sort of step to that. Maybe add something where you're going over pictures, where you have pictures, where you have thoughts for your clients. Like,
Mhm.
hey, this is what I was thinking. I know you like this. This is where I think we could take it a step further. Hey, I know you really enjoyed this. I was thinking of doing this because this is the trend this year, blah, blah, blah. Your clients will be like, wow, they're thinking about me when I'm not even here.
Right.
You know, there's value there. If you want to upgrade your coffee or whatever, go for it. You can do that. And when people are like, wow, this is nice. Again, you're not a coffee shop, so people aren't coming to you for coffee.
Right.
The last thing I think that you need to focus on for an action step to raising your prices is not an action step, but it's something, I guess it could be, it could not be, but you're going to stand firm. So it's
Mhm.
more about the stuff that you're not going to do. You're not going to apologize. You're
Right.
not going to over explain. You're not going to backpedal.
Right.
You're not going to project. This is where I got held up because I'm like, you're really not doing these things.
But by
It's
not doing these things, you're doing something.
it's like an unaction step.
Yeah.
But yeah, confidence is contagious.
Yes.
So if you just lay it out there and you just explain to the people this is the price and then stop, you're gonna be fine.
Yeah. I think our team celebrating it with, there was 8 of them that were getting this price increase. That helped some of them that were a little bit feeling unconfident. Just the idea of price increase can bring that up in you. But the fact that they were all doing it together became just this really cool kind of like party feel. And they felt like they were together on something, which was really cool too.
Certainly. The last thing I want to kind of close with is the client psychology. So your clients are more likely to leave you over poor service,
Mm-hmm.
over bad communication, towards stuff like that than a reasonable price increase.
Yes.
It's just a fact. Your right clients are going to adjust. They understand. They don't need a mini economics lesson about how
Oh my God, please.
Sally's prices of bleach went up. So now you have to increase. Like, people aren't stupid. That's almost condescending.
Yeah.
When you start breaking down prices to people like that, people understand cost of goods. You don't, because you haven't done any business stuff.
You don't need to. That's why. Just
But
stop talking.
But most people do. Most people understand it. Like, as things go up, it costs more. It costs more for you to deliver the service. No one is questioning that. So I don't know who you're explaining it to. And then the last thing I'll say really is just raising your prices isn't greedy at all. It's just part of running a healthy business.
Mm-hmm.
Those little numbers, the $5 and the 3% are they don't really take your numbers or do really much for you.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess stop treating your price increases like you're breaking up with your clients. You're not. It's not this ultimatum. You're just telling them how much the service costs.
And
If
then
they
get to
leave,
decide.
because decide is the perfect word. They decide
Mm-hmm.
that it's not worth it for them. You have now an opportunity to fill someone else into that slot that is a better client. It's a better potential fit for you.
Yes.
Anything else, Jen?
No, that was great.
I think we covered pretty much everything. That was all of my. I actually had like 3 other sections of notes, but I feel like that's good.
I got to just sip my water and get some learning.
Well, we just went through this, so it should be fresh. Yeah. And I'm really hoping that people listen. And if you want to reach out, We'll help people get through this. Yeah. We just had a wonderful conversation the other day with a husband-wife team, and I think we helped them through some stuff in just an hour-long phone call, and I learned some stuff too.
It was
great. Yeah, if you need help, reach out. We'll definitely at least help. We'll at least set you on the right track.
Yes.
At least tell you what we do and what works for us. Is that going to work 100% of the time for 100% of businesses? Of course not.
No, that's the purpose, though.
But it is going to work for the bulk of them out there.
Yeah.
Tell you that. So, all right, I guess that's it. Sorry we went long, but this is an important one because we want you to be here next year.
Yes.
That's it. So get on our newsletter, reach out if you need help, and bye, everyone.
Bye.